how does one deal with fear and doubt and the days when it's just really hard to be experiencing something? I'm starting to trust and let go. But there are days when it's so challenging and so hard, I just wonder why this is all happening. And she says, there's a part of me that fears if I let go, I might be forced to stay another year at my job, or I might be forced to remain alone for a few years, because she's writing earlier about her longing for a relationship. And she says, while I know that if that happens, it's the divine's will and for the highest good, it does scare me, and I find it hard to cope. So to me, really, the question is about what do you deal with how do you deal with fear and doubt, which are natural, which I think are just part of being in a human body, and how do you deal with that fear that if you offer things to the divine, you may not get what the ego thinks it wants. Now, I think part of how this works is that over time, and it's just a process for everybody, over time, you just start to trust that the divine is on your side, because the divine is you, because the divine is the great self, because the divine isn't that guy in a big throne with a long beard throwing lightning bolts down. It's like there's a process, and I would say the more you do this, and the more, the key to all of this is the compassion for yourself. So, like, to use the example of, like, you're stuck in a job that you don't like, or you'd long for a relationship and it's not here yet. I talked about this a bit last week, too, if you didn't hear that call yet. I think sending love to that part that's scared and frustrated is a huge piece of the puzzle. And again, praying for the ability to love that part that's scared and frustrated can make all the difference. But also, I think there just are days. It's almost like there's astrological transits, like, Sunday, this last Sunday, Saturn squared the sun. Now, that's not a bad transit, but sometimes that brings up fear and doubt. It only lasts for a day or two. But, it was amazing. It was like all of a sudden on Sunday, I began to have all this fear and doubt. And I was like, what is that? And I looked in my, ephemeris, and I was like, oh, Saturn square the sun. So it was helpful to know that. But you didn't have to know the astrology. It was just like I went back and I'm like, okay, God, I'm actually not in my right mind right now. I'm filled with fear and doubt. Help me relax and trust that you always know the way. Help me know that. So, often for me, it's just that quiet invitation to the divine. And I think sometimes we want to do anything but that invitation. It's like, what are the things that, get me out of the pain, or get me out of this, or get me out of that. But actually, all it takes in the moment is just stopping and saying, okay, I'm really scared right now. Kind of like the way I talk to the spider in a row. I'm really scared right now. Like, can we talk about this? And you can say to the divine, let's use the idea of partnership, because I think that's one people get scared about a lot. I'm really scared that if I offer this to you, your plan might be, guess what? You're going to spend the rest of your life without a partner. But if you say that to the divine, I often think the way that this works is so often the deepest longings are the divine longings. It's just this process of offering it over so that the divine can bring it in the way that's right, in the time that's right. And you just start to trust it over time. That's all I can say is the more miracles that come, the more you start to go, wow, God actually has your back. This isn't about tricking you into having a life that is one disappointment after another. But I think what happens is eventually you want God the most. That's the only way I know how to say it. That's the deepest desire, is you want God the most, and you start to trust. It's not some authority. It's love. You want love the most. So even the love that would come from a partner is just like a subset of the love of the divine. You want that the most, and then everything else is icing on the cake. It's like you want to know that you yourself are that love. And when you want to know that the most, oh my God, God does not ignore you. Like you everything in the world conspires to make you know that. Like if you hold that prayer, let me know I'm love. Let me know who I really am, that I'm a force for love. I can't explain it, but everything else comes to serve that. So I think there's a lot of things to say about her letter, but I think I'll leave it. I'll leave it with that I would send yourself the compassion on the days when you feel filled with fear and doubt. Just give that kid the hug, and then in the meantime, offer the things over, but asking the divine to allow you. It's almost like knowing the desire that's under all desires is the desire to be whole and the desire to be love. And then anything else can come. But you get down to the foundation. And then everything starts falling into place, I think, in a different way.